Tom, are you okay?
I lost her.
Her?
She was going to be this epic, trilogy-worthy character. I was going to be the hottest writer in Hollywood. But I can't get past Act 1.
You need some writers group therapy. Hello and welcome to Writers Group Therapy.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Roshni. We're writers helping writers. Are you ready for your session? The doctors are in. And if you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe and follow us online at writersgrouptherapy.com, on Twitter at WGTherapy. Also, that's our Instagram handle. And individually,
Tom_Loveman on Twitter and Tom Loveman on Instagram.
And I'm at Moonlily Music on Instagram and at Roshni Lamino on Twitter. Tom, happy anniversary!
Happy 100th episode.
I know, right? I mean, we haven't accomplished this in like regular TV writing, but we did it in our podcast, so that's exciting.
Yeah, did we get syndicated now?
Oh my word. So our 100th episode, 2 years of doing Writers Group Therapy for all of you wonderful people.
Pretty much every week, yeah.
Pretty much every week. So where have we been and where are we going?
Well, over 100 episodes. Pretty much, I figured we've done almost like every topic you could do on writing, but I think we've kind of created this really cool little like guide to anyone who's interested in screenwriting, because just if you have a question about screenwriting, we've probably done an episode on it, and because they're so short, these 10-15 minute episodes, it's like the perfect little resource now. So if you're like a writer who's just starting out, you've got like a little mini like class here. You could go through all these episodes and learn all about all these different subjects, not about how to write so much as what it is to be a writer. I feel like we've really kind of, the things they don't teach you in writing class.
Yeah, I mean, we do touch a little bit on the craft, but a lot of it is navigating as a writer in the business as well.
Yeah, because I mean, there's all kinds of places to go to, learn how to write, but how to be a writer is kind of, I think, what we've helped people do, and I feel really good about it.
I do too, because it's a mindset, to navigate the business. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? That favorite saying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we've got a nice little library there to help people make it a really good marathon, so you won't lose steam by the end.
Yeah, and I went through it. We did 12 interviews. We reviewed, I think, about, like 10 or 12 movies along the way. Of course, we talk about Star Wars about every fourth episode. I think it's like,
that's like the subtitle, Writers Group Therapy, the Star Wars, whatever, Nerd Fest.
Yeah. But yeah, because it's so cool. I feel like we've just really hit a milestone here. I'm pretty excited about, sharing all this with people, and I think people really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to where we go from here.
Yeah, and if there is a writing topic that we haven't covered that you really want us to cover, tweet it at us at WG Therapy on Twitter, or email us through the website or something and let us know. Because I mean, really, after 100 episodes, it does feel like we've covered everything under the sun, but I'm sure there's something out there that we've missed.
Honestly, yeah. My favorite text is from Roshni is, what are we going to talk about?
Well, what's funny is we come up with a lot of topics ahead of time. Now you guys are all going to get to hear the behind the scenes stuff. We come up with a lot of topics ahead of time, and sometimes we realize we've already kind of touched on it, or maybe it's not even relevant anymore to what's going on in the business because things happen so fast.
Right. We've been following the Writers Guild stuff, and it's been hard to do that on our podcast because we actually record a little bit ahead of time. We kind of get these things ahead of time and edit them and post them weekly. But sometimes, we don't do them, the week of. So by the time we talk about something, it's long past or things have changed. So the timeliness, the great thing about our podcast is that a lot of the episodes are timeless. You can always listen to them. They're always relevant. But in some ways, we miss out on some of the timely things that happen in the business.
Yeah. So what's been you mean maybe not like a specific episode, but what's been like the best piece of advice you've heard or given on our podcast that you wouldn't mind reiterating?
Oh, wow. Put me on the spot.
Yes.
Oh, geez. the thing that this has taught me most is because working with you is you're not alone in this.
Hmm.
Building the team, having a support group, because it can be quite frustrating when you feel like you're the only one. You're in it and you're writing, and it's like no one wants to read your scripts, no one likes your scripts, or you don't have any help. You're like, oh, what do I do? I don't know how to do this, or I don't know where to go next. So really, being open to working with others and seeking out help and building your team, your mentors, your coaches if you have them, and just finding resources or people. There's a lot of us in this boat, so we're all here kind of rowing in the same direction. So you know jump in and row along with us.
Please.
What
Yeah.
about you?
I think for me, it's funny too because in the last couple weeks I actually got the silent no, which I'm sure if you
Ah,
don't know what the silent no is, everybody, it's when you send out your stuff to people or you audition or something and then you follow up and they just never get back to you. And the time stretches on. And after a day or two, you're like, oh, maybe they're busy. And then like 3 weeks later, you're like, yeah, they just gave me the silent no. And it sucks because you don't know if you should follow up or if you should just, eat a lot of Ben and Jerry's or something. But I love
yeah.
all the interviews we've done because there's no one way to get where we all want to go. And some people, they had to knock on a bazillion doors before even that one opened. And then some people were really lucky and they just kind of fell into their lap. But it's interesting how it can that path to get to being an accomplished writer, there's a bazillion ways to get there.
Right. And being accomplished as a writer doesn't just mean, TV shows and movies.
Mhm.
I mean, because we've talked to people who have done all kinds of things like animation and documentaries, and then people in the business that aren't even writers too. We've talked to lawyers. We had that a therapist recently. Well,
Mhm.
she's a writer too, but learning from people in different walks and how they approach writing has been really great.
Yeah, yeah. So we did want to let you know there is going to be a bit of a format change because partly because we do feel like we have covered a broad variety of topics and there is this backlog of writing topics that you can explore, but also because we're doing other projects that are unfortunately taking up a little bit of time away from this podcast. So the format here on out is going to be a once a month podcast, but it's going to be a little bit longer than our little 10-minute
Hmm.
snippets. So you'll still get the same great content, interviews, and what's going on in the biz, and any writing tips and tricks that we've got. It's just not going to be every week.
Yeah, we feel like we can be a little more timely in this too, because while our interviews can be recorded anytime, when we do record our podcast, we're going to be getting them out quicker from that point. So we'll be able to talk about more timely aspects of the business and not be confused by, oh, this happened last week, but it was actually a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be able to be really touch on some more current trends and news and kind of bring you up to speed on those. So look for like kind of a more of a news magazine, I guess you could say. We're going to have some different segments in it where we talk about what we're doing, what's going on in the business, reviews, interviews. We'll be kind of combining different pieces together. I don't think any episode will quite be the same. I think we'll be a little bit of a variety show, but I think it's going to be fun.
I think so too. I think so too. So speaking of current things, what is it that you're working on?
I'm developing a couple video games. So I've been talking to video game developers about how to get started developing video games. One's just a word game, and the other one's more kind of like one of my stories. I actually started as a video game idea, then I wrote a TV pilot for it. So now I'm actually trying to develop it in both areas kind of simultaneously. So I'm looking at pitching it as a show, but I'm also looking at developing it as a video game idea and kind of being able to
Oh,
pitch it
cool.
as actually it's just as like an IP. It's not just one thing. It's other. It could be all these different things. It could be graphic novels. It can be games. It can be movies. It can be TV shows. It can be anything. It can be websites and viral videos. Who knows what it's going to be? But I'm pretty excited about developing that. You're working on.
I am actually in pre-production for a comedy scripted podcast called Expat. So we just finished up casting. We're going to go into the studio in a few weeks and putting the finishing touches on. I'm writing 6 episodes for the first season. So I'm mostly
Hmm.
done. There's just a few tweaks here and there. So it's nice to work on a project, but at the same time, it's also nice to be on the other end when you're like, whew, thank goodness that's done.
Yeah, well, and everyone out there, look out for this podcast. I've read it; it's really funny, and it's going to be a great time.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, we want to launch it March 17, right? St. Patrick's Day, because it does feature a lot of Irish people. So, yeah, my husband's actually the one that's like, March 17. I'm like, that's a great launch date. So that is the projected.
So spring, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
look for that.
Yeah. So it has been such a pleasure to be your therapist for 2 years straight, and we're so excited.
This is not goodbye.
This is not goodbye. It's just a change. Change is good.
So
we're so excited to have you guys on our journey as things kind of morph and change and all that good stuff. But definitely keep in touch. Let us know what topics you want to hear about, and we'll keep.
Yeah, our social medias, they're all the time. We're eager to talk to you, and if you have comments or questions, we will respond. Doesn't matter whether we have an episode coming up or not. We're welcome to chat with you guys.
Definitely. So, thanks. Yay!
Thank
Happy
you.
100! Woohoo!
Yay! Where's the cake? Did you bring the cake?
Only if it's chocolate, but you can't have chocolate.
Dang. Okay, I'll make my own cake.
All right.
So watch for the new Writers Group Therapy coming soon.
And we'll see you in September.